Hello everybody, this is Braden's Fish Tank channel here, fishtanktv.com, and I'm here with the video for you guys on substrate. So I have a lot of people asking me actually, what type of substrate do you use, and questions about dirt and stuff like that. So I just want to talk about substrate, a little bit about substrate. Sorry that I'm uploading a ton of videos right now. There's a lot of contests going on, and I'm just doing those, and I want to update people on the tank and how the shell dweller tank's going. I actually been talking to Corey's fish tanks, and he might actually be giving me some fry, so that's gonna be sweet. I'd love to get some fry from him. The only thing is, they're gonna be small, so they're not gonna breed for a while, and they're not gonna be as like outgoing. But that's all right with me. I mean, it's gonna be cool raising them from fry and see how they like develop and get bigger and stuff. If I do get them from him, I mean, it's not set in stone, but I might. So here's my 5-gallon tank, and I want to talk about substrate. So first off, this is my substrate. Alright, you can see little specks of red in there. You got this white sand on top, which is pool filter sand. You got this brown gunk in it. What is my substrate? Alright, so this tank is dirted. You might hear stuff on YouTube about dirt, so I'm going to kind of give a good explanation on what dirt is, why it helps, and other types of substrate for plants. So Miracle Grow organic potting choice is what dirt I'm using. That's what a lot of guys use. That's what Dustin from Dustin's Fish Tank uses, and he was the one who kind of started the whole dirt phase, or at least he's the one that most people figure out what type of dirt to use. And he also gave me this tip to use clay. Now this is Mexican red clay from Amico, and that's what I use as my substrate. I just use it. It's kind of an additive because clay contains iron, which is necessary for plants. You know, you take that's not that great of an example. This tank just got set up, and I don't really pump this thing full with iron. I just think it's good to benefit. But if you pump your tanks full with iron, you can see a little bit on the tops of those rotellas. But in my past videos, you had seen that a rotella has been really red before I pulled it out, at the tops especially, and that's because well, there's a couple of reasons. One, it could just be the lighting that it's getting and being close up, or it could also be the dirt and the clay and the dirt that's producing iron. But it's just good for the plants all around, and also to get those red hues out. That's why most of the plants substrates, such as this is Eco-Complete, another good plant substrate. But most of the plant substrate, you know, Floramax and Eco-Complete, they're all clay-based usually. And you can see that Reppin's right there doing pretty good. And this tank is also dirted. A lot of people think dirt's totally messy. As you can see, the clay, the dirt, and the substrate. Is it messy? No, it's not messy. I mean, everybody says, oh, when you first dirt a tank, you're going to get a cloudy tank and everything. Here's a story. I'll give you a little story right now. And just show you Winston while I'm doing it. So the 5-gallon, this I just redid yesterday night actually, and I totally tore the tank down. It was a total wreck. There's a couple of reasons why. And first off, my substrate wasn't right. When I first dirted this tank, I didn't do the right type of substrate. So when you're dirting a tank, you gotta be cautious and careful, but you also just gotta be patient and listen to directions. I'm not very patient. I'm kind of impatient, and I like to kind of get stuff done and get stuff set up, and I like to always kind of be working on something at the moment, you know, like setting up a new tank or like redoing a tank or whatever. But that's not always how it works. You have to be patient on stuff. You know, when you're cycling a tank, especially if you're doing a fishless cycle and you don't have a fish in there to focus. Or right now, with my 15 gallons just empty, I'm just waiting for that thing to get ready, waiting to be able to get fish, you know. It's just kind of torturing. But you have to deal with that sometimes. It's not dirty. On my first dirt tank, I was talking about setting this guy up, I had a huge cloudy mess. And the reason why was, first off, I used a lot of clay. I used a ton of clay, and I didn't really follow directions on that. Also, I used a ton of dirt, and I didn't really follow directions on that. You want to use about an inch of dirt and then an inch or two of your substrate. You know, I like to have a little bit of extra cap, just to hold that dirt down. And the thing with the cap is, this is what I've realized. You get these big, what I did when I was first doing this tank is I used, you know, it obviously wasn't that big, just regular size gravel. Here, I'll show you a good example of that. Right here. in this little beta bowl that I set up. Don't put your betas in a bowl, folks. They don't do good. But anyways, here is the type gravel that I used. It was black, but it was basically this kind of size green, which just your regular type size gravel that you get at, you know, Walmart or Petco or wherever you get your gravel. And that's not really good because it's large grains. So here's my theory on it. I used gravel for this tank and it turns out fine. I used sand on this tank and it turns out fine. But the first time I used gravel and it was a big size gravel. So my theory on it, if this darn camera would focus, I like this camera, but it takes a while to focus. So my theory on it is that, focus please, there we go, is that plants, when you're doing dirty tank, you need to have a fine substrate, whether it's a fine grain gravel like Eco-Complete. I use my cap on the dirt. You can see the dirt ends at about there, and then the Eco-Complete starts up. So, you know, and it turned out really well. I don't have dirt settling on the top, and it's not all a dirty, mucky thing. I had to do one water change on it, and it was fine. This guy, on the other hand, when I had just the regular size grain gravels, that tank was a disaster. I had to do tons of water changes, and I was starting to think like it was my first dirt tank, and I was like, oh, this is such a mess, you know, like, why am I doing this? Everybody says dirty tanks are nice, and this is just so hard and everything. And I know Dustin, like, he's setting up a 55 gallon right now, I think, and he, you know, his tank was kind of dirty when he set it up, and that's a couple things that you need to do when you're setting up a dirty tank. One, he uses kind of regular sized substrate. If I was Dustin, I'd use pool filter sand. This is what I'm using. I'm experimenting though, so don't take my advice on using pool filter sand just yet. I like using fine gravel too, but a lot of people have been doing pool filter sand with dirty tanks and they've had good success. So talk to people with that and see how they're doing and make sure that they're playing. Some people don't like it because it can build up gases or whatever. That's more a play sand. Pool filter sand might do it, but not really as much as play sand, which can clump and cause anaerobic gas and all this other stuff that I won't get into. But yeah, so if you're doing a dirted substrate, I'd use Miracle Grow Organic Choice Dirt Potting Mix. That's what a lot of people use. It's pretty cheap, and I still have like at least half a bag left, and I did this one twice, that one once, and that one once. So, I mean, you get a big, I think it's like 16 quart bag, and it's pretty cheap, like less than $10. So the reason why dirt is so good of a substrate for plants is because it contains so many nutrients. You know, make sure if you're doing another dirt, if you can't get the Miracle Grow Organic Choice, just get any other type of organic potting mix. Don't get any stuff with fertilizers. Let me repeat that. Don't get any stuff with fertilizers that aren't organic. You want it 100% organic. Because if you get stuff with fertilizers, you're probably going to kill your fish because it's chemicals and bad for your fish. Chemicals equals bad for your fish. So you can see though, there's a substrate a little bit better. But yeah, that's what I use. Dirt is really beneficial because it has so many nutrients and stuff in this mix, you know. It's organic, it's got all this material, you know, nutrients. It's like a long-lasting fertilizer. So that's the reason why I use dirt. It's not messy if you do it properly. I'm about to actually post another video, would be more videos, on the 15-gallon setup guide. Kind of failed on making a guide for both of these tanks. This one I didn't want to because it was just such a disaster, but the 15-gallon I did like part of it, but then I kind of forgot that I was doing a video documentary of setting it up, so I kind of just rushed ahead, being my impatient self, and just set up the tank, and then I was like, oh crap, I didn't document this step and this step. So yeah, it might be a little weird, but yeah, so I'm just going to post that in separate parts because I don't really know how to post one full setup video, just to help newbies kind of figure out how to set up the tank and just to show how it looked and how it progressed. So yeah. Alright, so thanks for watching. I hope this video has talked to you a little bit about dirt. If you don't like using dirt, and some people don't like it, some people say it's messy. Again, it's not really messy if you do it the right way. Tearing the tank down might be kind of messy, but if you do it the right way when you first set it up, it won't be messy and cloudy. So yeah, some people will rather use something like Eco-Complete, which is a great substrate. Any of those plant substrates, you know, Eco-Complete, Floramax, those are the ones I know are pretty good. Fluorite, I don't know about fluorite. Some people said it doesn't really have that many nutrients, and it's basically just inert. It's basically just black sand. So what I'm saying is just use, if you're not using dirt, and if you're not using pool filter sand or a nice fine gravel to cap it, and you don't want to do dirt, then use something like this, like Eco-Complete. Makes you a good substrate. Your plants will do healthy. If you're doing Eco-Complete, this is what I do. You could try just doing Eco-Complete and putting light on the tank. Of course, you're going to need light. Even if you're doing a dirty tank, you're going to need light, folks. So don't cheap out on lights, you know. A lot of people have these high-tech T5s and everything. You know, for small tanks like this, I just use CFLs. Very cheap, but very effective. Or you could get strip lights, whatever. You don't need a ton of lighting in your tank. You know, check Dustin's videos and Shane's. Oh, that's sweet. I'm a beta one in the shell. Look at that. Haha. That's awesome. Winston's curled up in there. Hopefully he doesn't get stuck. Dude, that's so cool. I was waiting for him to do that. That's awesome. Hey, buddy. I was waiting for him to do that. I thought, like, hey, maybe he could go in the shell. Well, I know that the shell dwellers will fit now because he's able to fit in there. So, yeah, that's pretty sweet. Let's see if he comes out. Hey, Winston. That was awesome. I'm glad I caught that on camera. But anyways, sorry for keep distracting you. If you're doing Eco-Complete because you don't want to do dirt or whatever reason, I'd use some plant substrate. Eco-Complete's good. But what I'd use with it, I'd use stuff with it because you're basically losing the dirt and clay. So if you're doing just this, of course you'll have lighting on your tank. Light it for a good, you know, it really depends on the tank. You have to balance the tank out with Dustin has a ton of videos on that, so check that out. And he has lighting videos. You know, he runs his lights for like 6 hours to 8 hours usually, sometimes more on the weekends. I run these guys for about 8, 9, 10 hours. So usually 8 to 10 is prime. It really depends on your lights though, and what you want to do, you know. Do you mind scraping off algae and having a ton of light? Do you want your plants to grow crazy or what? Or you just want to have a balanced tank. If you don't like doing algae and stuff, then don't put like high output, tons of lights on your tank. And you can put high output, but don't run it for like 15 hours. Because I've actually ran this tank lights from like 6 to 11 at night, 6 in the morning to 11 at night. So that was way too long, and it promoted a lot of algae growth. So I wouldn't do that. So now when I get home from school, you know, 2:30 or whatever, I turn on the lights, turn them off at 11:30. Or 11. So I'd use ferts if I was doing just Eco-Complete without dirt. I'd use ferts just to help supplement, you know, root tabs, and then just a liquid fert, and that'll work fine. It's basically just the same as using just dirt. One thing that I wanted to talk about is I don't use ferts in these tanks. I let it go natural. I do the dirt substrate, so I'm awesome. Thanks to Dustin. Shout out to Dustin's Fish Tanks for just introducing me and a ton of other people to dirt. Like, I would have never thought of that. So, Dustin's awesome. But, you know, I'm glad that I took the dirt path. It's not as scary as everybody says it is. You know, it's not as messy. If you want it to be messy, you can make it messy. But if you do it the right way, or the way I do it, you can get good success, like looking like this without a water change. Did no water changes, Zippo water changes on the tanks after I dirted them. Not this one, but this one I didn't do any water changes, and I haven't yet. So I'll probably wait a week or two and do one of those. So yeah, liquid ferts, root tabs will work fine if you're doing just regular substrate. You don't even need Eco-Complete. If you didn't want to do dirt at all and you don't want to waste money on Eco-Complete, you can just do pool filter sand or something, or gravel, and then just fert that a lot. You know, I'd use CO2 ferts, root tabs, liquid ferts, you know, Flourish Excel and stuff like that, just supplements and stuff like that. But you can just go the natural way, which is what I like, using dirt and then a good cap. So sorry if this video has been a little boring and long, but I hope I teach you a little bit about caring for the plants. Please check out my contest videos for J Flesh Tanks and Mr. Mom Tanks and the Chris Television. I did like 6 all together because I did 2 for J flesh tanks, so 2, 3. Okay, never mind. It's like 4. But yeah, so check out those videos. Tell me if you like those. And I just kind of give an overview on the tanks there, especially the shell dweller tank. I talk a lot about that and plans for that tank. So yeah, this has been basically why I like dirt and the reasons that I use it, because it's really good for your plants. I mean, it has a ton of nutrients and supplements that'll really add to the Planet tank. And yeah, so Miracle-Gro Organic Choice Dirt potting mix is the type that you want to use, or just any organic soil. So I hope you liked the video. Please comment, rate, subscribe, and this is Britain's Fish Tank channel, and I'll talk to you guys later. Alright, thanks. Also, thanks for the positive feedback on the videos. Really like it. Thanks for all the support for that. So I really like that. And I'm at like 65 subscribers now, which is awesome, because I started and I've obviously started with 0 subscribers, but now I have like 65, so it's growing pretty fast, which I'm really liking. So please, any video requests are welcome. I'll try and do them. If I know what you're talking about, then I'll try and do them. So thanks a lot. Shout out to Vegas Surfer. Check his channel out. Also, Corey's Fish Tanks. Love this guy's shell dweller tanks. And yeah, so talk to you guys later. Alright, see you guys.